Hello, hello, everyone. This is Karen here with our 23rd mini mindful moment. The topic today is stop pushing and start thriving. I do have this time, I have some slides to share, so I will do that in a moment. It's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these, and the last one that I did was a recording, and that's gotten the most views of any of the mini mindful moments yet. So that's pretty wild to see that happen. So let me go ahead and share slides here, some information, just some background for how it is that you can stop pushing and start thriving. I am Karen, and it's funny. I think y'all are going to be some of the first to know that I'm dropping the last name tax very soon. And so I'm starting to just not show that here as I prepare to shift to a new last name, which I will share with you as soon as I am ready to start doing that. I am an executive coach and business consultant, and I focus on leadership, culture, and strategy. And I've developed an approach I call IMX, where I guide leaders at all levels of an organization and I'm thinking how I want to say this today, that to bring the best of who they are, that doesn't always include pushing. People usually think of their best in some way of like driving and constantly driving. And it really usually needs to be a balance of pausing and going if you're going to be sustainable in the way that you work. So, um, the I love doing these mini mindful moments as a way of guiding people into this to give you an experience of what this actually can be like instead of just talking to you about what it is. This is an invitation into an experience of that. Okay, so this is a picture from my garden. These flowers don't actually bloom like this anymore. They bloomed several years with these big, glorious flowers. This is, for me, I think, an example of thriving, what thriving can look like in nature. And it also goes up and down depending on what the circumstances are. So I just want you to keep this picture in mind of what thriving can look like and to remember that so can you. Uh, People stay in stressful habits of pushing through work because it can feel impossible to bring healthier ways of working into a culture that's busy 24/7. So the mindfulness practices are a way that I'm offering for you to be able to experience how life is already thriving and gradually bring that into whatever you're doing and eventually influence and evolve the cultures around you to support yours and others thrivings more than they are now. Especially when you do this together with other people, it really can be super powerful. Did I just say thrivings? That's interesting. Okay, so I want you to think about what causes you to be unable to thrive at work. Are there specific blocks that get in the way? So go ahead and add those to the comments here. Looking at folks here that are live. If you want to add anything, please do. If you're watching the recording of this, you can just add it in the comments on either YouTube or LinkedIn. So I will get to these, whatever your questions and comments are, either during the live session or in a follow-up Q&A or comments online. So have you stopped to think about why society puts pressure on us to constantly push to get things done? Is this something that you've thought about? And actually, you know what? I'm going to change this. I want to do it this way. Yeah. So I'd like you to just let yourself go there and think about in your own life, why is it that you feel like you need to push to get things done? So the rationales that I've seen for this are people are looking for greater efficiencies. They want to make the most of limited time. You want to maximize profit. Like these are all really good reasons. Maybe you're pushing because you want to get ahead, get a promotion so that maybe someday in the future you can stop pushing so much. That tends to not actually happen because that someday doesn't arrive. Another thing that I've seen is that, sloth is a sin. Ooh. And so morally, we should be constantly productive. So I really want to know what are the pressures that you're facing? And please go ahead and put those out there. Because what I want you to know is it's not inevitable, this pushing. Of course, that's what this whole thing is about that I'm doing. So we get really honest with ourselves. We can often find that the more we push, the farther away we actually get from these supposed rationales for pushing. I mean, you might get the promotion, right? But like you never arrive at that place where it feels like you can stop pushing. So then we get stuck in kind of a surviving mindset and way of being instead of really allowing ourselves to thrive, which is entirely possible. So when we pause, I love this picture. When we pause and let ourselves connect with nature, with each other, and the aliveness of life, like this image is showing, we can discover and experience how life truly is already thriving. And thriving in a way that can support us and guide us and hold us in our work so that work and even life is a lot less stressful and more fulfilling. So this is what we have to offer, right? But the price that we're paying for stressful 24 by 7 productivity is huge. According to the Mayo Clinic, and I'm going to read this part. The long-term activation of the stress response system and too much exposure to cortisol and other stress hormones can disrupt almost all the body's processes. And this puts you at higher risk of many health problems, including, and I'm going to go ahead and read this list in case you're not actually watching the video, if you're only listening to the audio, puts you at risk of anxiety, depression, digestive problems, headaches, muscle tension and pain, heart disease, sleep problems, weight gain, and memory and focus issues. So this is all in the article I have here noted. So an analysis conducted by the American Institute of Stress found that after including factors such as absenteeism, turnover, diminished productivity, increased medical costs, and increased legal costs, the total economic impact of stress to U.S. employees, and I believe that this number is in a year, is estimated to be $300 billion. So we think we're pushing to be more efficient, but we're paying a price. And I thought this for a long time. It's time to wake up to the fact that pushing to get work done in ways that cause chronic stress is costing more than is benefiting us. And what I want to highlight here is that chronic stress, we so often think of that as normal rather than recognizing what's happening physically with us, with ourselves. So in my decades of supporting people to develop leaders at all levels of organizations, I've discovered that the key to stop pushing and start thriving is to realize that life is already thriving, and so can we. And so I want to go in a little more deeply here. What do I mean by life? What is this life, airy fairy life thing that I'm talking about? Very tangibly and specifically, I'm talking about all of life on planet Earth and beyond. So the soil, the rocks, the plants, the animals, the tiny microbiome, and the plankton that's land and sea, the massive blue whales and elephants and our solar system and the cosmos. And of course, we as humans, like life, livingness. And that's connected. We're connected to this. So in our pushing, we forget that we as humans are part of an interconnected and interdependent web of life that was thriving before we got here and will continue after we're gone. If that happens, the planet will survive even if we don't. She's got a lot of millions of years left. So we forget that every single one of us is an indispensable part of life, precious and already connected with each other. And we can't not be connected because life is inherently relational. So how we relate with each other matters. It really matters. We are a part of the web of life, whether we like it or not. It's just the way things are. And our habits of pushing and forgetting that we are interconnected keep us thinking and believing that we're separate from each other, making enemies of people who don't think or behave or look like us, blaming others. This is sometimes called othering. This is a reflection of our forgetting. And the things that we forget that the things that we fear and hate in others are in reality parts of us that we haven't yet learned to welcome and love. So being in nature, this is my buddy, Ken Farber. He's the guy who has brought in all the mindfulness into my Define Your True Self course. And this was a day we were in San Francisco just hanging out together. And we had been in Golden Gate Park and we're just driving around the city, looking at the view. So that's San Francisco behind us. We're happy. We've just spent a bunch of time in nature, and being in nature is how you can visibly see how life is already connected and thriving, and experience tangibly what that feels like in yourself. And then you can bring that thriving into how you show up at work and how you engage and work. And certainly Ken and I, and the way we work together is we're bringing our thriving to each other and to what it is that we're offering you in the Define Your True Self course. So you can know that you're thriving by how alive you feel. That would be a great question for you to go ahead and just ask yourself right now. So just how alive do you feel? And you will feel energized as you contribute to the vitality of your organization, knowing that it's not just an org chart plagued by power plays and big egos crashing, but a living system, an alive organism that's also participating in life. Whatever organization you're a part of is a living organism. And you're a part of an organization. It could be a business, government, our society. It could be thriving. Maybe it already is, and it always can be thriving more if we remember how connected and alive we already are. So my recommendation is to use little teeny tiny print. My recommendation is use pushing intentionally and strategically only when absolutely necessary, instead of it being a way of life and constant. And to aim for thriving in whatever we're doing more and more every day. And gradually we can cultivate the cultures around us to be supportive of our thriving once we get a better sense of what that can actually look like and feel like. And as I've said, that's why I'm doing these mini mindful moments so we can experience more of and amplify what that feels like. So we can accelerate the evolution of the cultures around us to support our thriving by inviting others to join. So when we make these shifts together, it positive change then accelerates. So, here's my pitch for share the mini mindful moment, this and the others that I've done with others, so others can join you in this kind of holistic thriving. So I find it helpful, and I'm going to get rid of me here so you can see all of this. I find it helpful to be aware of the difference between pushing and thriving so you can start to notice where you're at. So here are some characteristics of each. So with pushing, it's whatever the thing is that you have to do. When you're thriving, it's, well, what do I really want to do? What is my highest creative expression in this moment that I want to do? Pushing is always on, 24/7, go, 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 go. And with thriving, you're connecting with your natural rhythms. Like, when am I go? When am I rest? Pushing is exhausting because it's not sustainable because you're always going. And thriving can be incredibly energizing and life enhancing. I think of pushing as life depleting and thriving as life enhancing. Pushing is destination oriented, so you're good when you get to the end. And thriving is journey oriented. Pushing you suffer through, thriving you enjoy through with little pockets of where you got to do the grind. Um, Pushing is transactional. And I've gotten to where this happened recently with a family situation where it was feeling transactional. And I literally was like, I'm not a robot. But if it starts to feel like you're an object that's being told what to do, you've lost the relational connection that comes with natural thriving. So transactional on the pushing side, relational on the thriving side. And then pushing is just frankly not sustainable. And you can know that you're not sustainable when you're not having fun, where it doesn't feel playful. And you'll feel those things when you're thriving. It'll be like, okay, this is a really interesting challenge to solve. And I feel good about that. That feels fun, or truly into being playful if you're more creative. So thriving is more sustainable and it's generative. It generates more aliveness and fuels life. So the bottom line, if you're going to thrive, you're going to stop pushing, except for, so the bottom line of all of this, if you're going to stop pushing, except for only when you strategically need to do it and it's necessary, and start thriving, you need to connect with the ways that life is already thriving and bring that into how you work. So how life is thriving and how you thrive. So I want to give you an example. Of course, ask yourself the question, how do you thrive in this? I want to just, as an example, tell the story of creating this particular mini mindful moment. I couldn't seem to get to this one without pushing, which was very ironic and kind of funny, right? I couldn't get into a thriving place to write this one. And I had started a writing course. And so I wanted to add some of what I was learning to how I did this mini mindful moment, but that slowed me down and I really wanted to go faster. So I just kind of let it go, how it was going to be. And I just made a conscious choice to slow down so I could just play with some of the new approaches that I was learning to writing, and also to be in integrity with this idea of doing less pushing and doing more thriving, and how I prepared this for you and am delivering it to you. And so I also decided to skip last Monday's mini mindful moment, which gave me spacious time on a beautiful day so that the writing that I did felt like thriving. And I made sure to spend time in my garden and soak in the sunshine and feel the cool fall temperatures and just let myself feel grateful for being alive. So, extracting ourselves from the 24/7 grind of pushing through work requires us to be radically honest with ourselves about how unsustainable constant pushing is. And, choose to be alive. I'm looking at this picture and all the happy, happy people. It isn't always being alive, isn't always happy, happy. Sometimes it's actually being angry or being frustrated or whatever. I mean, this is a picture just to amplify aliveness, but know that it isn't always pretty and it isn't always perfect. It's a different kind of hard work to choose to thrive. Uh, it's like choosing all of the ways of being alive, and it's a choice that's impossible to make when your nervous system is jacked up on cortisol and other stress hormones. So when you're stressed and pushing, it's going to feel like you have no other choice but to push. And mindfulness helps you unhook from your body's stress and threat response and expand what you see and experience as possible. So, really quickly, again, all of our mini mindful moments that I provide here are guided by a tool that I've created called the IMX Compass, which is based on the rhythms of the seasons and the days. So I provided an introduction to this in the very first mini mindful moment that I did. So you can get to that in a link that's in the description. And the way that we physically work falls within the west direction of the compass. This is where we harvest the fruits of our labor and we see our results. This is where we tap into the wisdom of the season of fall and the end of our day or dusk. So it's when we know we're coming to the end of things, the end of a project, the end of a day, the end of a life. And the wisdom of the West is where we do retrospectives. What did I learn from this project that I can weave into the next project? Or how satisfied am I with the life I'm living and thriving or not thriving? What changes would I make so that I can thrive more? So as we dive into today's practice, mini mindful moment, what might thriving more at work look like for you? Let's go ahead and let yourself think about that. And then I'll take you into the practice now. And if it's possible to do this particular practice while being close to either a plant or animal or another person, like I have this huge window in front of me and I have trees, massive amount of trees out there that I get to look at. So I'm connecting with the aliveness of that. So please do that, whatever you might be able to connect with, or bring something to mind that is alive and precious to you. So go ahead and close your eyes and let yourself settle into being in connection with yourself. Just connect with yourself. Connect with me, even if it's on a recording, because my energy is plugged into these recordings, like I am with you as you're listening. And I always will be. Or with the living thing that you brought to mind, allow yourself to be connected to something alive. And notice your breath as you are feeling this connection, and allow it to enliven every cell of your body as you're breathing. You're breathing in to your lungs and also breathing into your entire body. And notice this enlivening in your cells all through your body and the energy of this. And go ahead and let your energy drop down into the ground. So you're grounding your energy, a very specific and practical way of connecting, allowing your energy to connect with the energy of the earth. And notice how you can feel safe in your connection with the earth and the precious alive being that you've brought with you, brought to mind, or me and my voice. I am right here with you. So feel the grounding, energy deep into the earth. I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background, but he's whining. He's very alive right now. So notice what's going on in your mind, any mental activity that might be happening, thoughts that are floating through your awareness. How many thoughts are you having in this moment about things that have to get done? Just let your thoughts float through your consciousness, knowing that there is more to life than your thoughts. So much more. The stories and the rationales that we carry with us that motivate us into pushing, we don't need to believe these stories 24/7. Let those thoughts float through, float on, let them go. And for now, just let yourself relax physically, knowing that you're going to get back to doing whatever you need to doing all in good time, but from a very different source of energy. Go ahead and relax your brain, your skull, your head. I love doing this. Oh my God. And for now, let yourself let go of any fear of what might happen because of not getting it done, not doing it right, not being perfectly perfect. Just let all that go and relax your shoulders and arms. And in this moment, allow yourself to simply be human. A perfect work in progress, evolving and coming the next best version of yourself with life. Relax your lungs and your heart. Maybe take a breath as you do that. And let go of needing to please your parents, your teachers, make perfect grades, all of that residual stuff that we bring into adulthood of trying to make others happy. And go ahead and relax your belly and your digestive system. As you take a breath, feel your belly expand really big. Just let it all relax. I call it my Buddha belly now. Letting go of pushing to get anything done and trying to be successful. Let go of trying to meet some external measure of success in this moment. Just let it go. And let yourself relax into just being beautifully, humanly you, who sometimes might want to take a nap or stare out a window. Your body may be telling you that at points in time when you feel really tired. Relax your hips and legs and let go of the need to constantly be on the go. And let yourself simply be connected, feeling and relaxing your feet and their ongoing connection with the earth. You're still grounding. You still have grounding going on here. Noticing how as you let go and continue to allow your energy to ground, there's always new energy arriving in your body. There's always more life. Let yourself feel how that's possible as you can in this moment. You are constantly, always receiving energy from life. So, in this moment, allow yourself to feel and receive this new energy and let it soak into every cell in your body. And go ahead and do a body scan right now from head to toes, just bringing your awareness through your body, noticing any places of remaining tension. Breathing into that tension and letting it go as you can, kind of like a energy cleansing, physical cleansing. Noticing in the process how you're letting go of holding yourself together. Life already does that for you. You don't need to work at that. Just let it go. Letting go of holding tension and just letting yourself risk something new arriving that feels better and functions better for you in this moment. Notice what's arriving right now in this moment. So, in all of this letting go, you're letting go of trying, and pushing, and making. And you're allowing a little bit at a time. Letting go of pushing and receiving, allowing new energy. So noticing how life is so alive in this moment, you might be able to feel how awareness of life seems to know where it needs to go in your body and being and feelings. Just let yourself feel this aliveness and let it let it do what it's going to do as you can. Notice how it tends to you and brings loving attention to you, to exactly those places that you might need some extra tenderness. Allowing the natural, thriving aliveness of life to hold you safe and show you what it feels like to thrive. What does it feel like in this precious moment to feel alive and thrive as uniquely you, unconditionally loved you? What does that feel like? So let the new energy of life just come to you and keep coming to you. There's always more. And from here, from this quality of energy and aliveness, go ahead and ask yourself again, in what ways would you like to be thriving? Just be really honest with yourself. And continue, as you are moving through with your work and life, you can always come back to this recording and tap in again to thriving if it feels like it's hard to connect with life and your aliveness. You can always come back. It's one of the reasons I'm doing these live streams and recordings, and so you have something to come back to. So go ahead and open your eyes and let yourself wiggle your body to see how it feels now, maybe even compared to how it felt when you started the practice. And my invitation for you now is to, as you go through the rest of your day, is to connect with how life is already thriving uniquely through you and bring that to whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. I hope you feel thrivey. I'm making up new words here in this practice. That's my sincere hope for you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And I will see you out there on the comments. Oh, and please go ahead and follow. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow me, IMX on LinkedIn. That would be awesome to stay connected with you in that way. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.